Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel guys. It's a nice evening and today going to be telling you guys a story about what happened to me, and I hope this story will kind of like help you guys. But anyways guys, if it's the first time you're seeing this YouTube channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment and share, okay? So anyways guys, as I said, about a year ago, me and my husband, we took our truck. My husband has a truck. Precisely, it's like a Dodge Ram. And, the truck been a very good truck. We've had it for years. We've drive all over. Been to New York with it. We've been to Canada with it. We've been to Florida with it. So it's been a good truck. So, but anyways, last year we find that it was smoking a little bit, started to hesitate, and and no matter how much we tune it up, it just like it wasn't giving. So we decided now that my husband was tried to check it out, and they told him, look, you need an engine because this truck is a 1980 2003 Dodge Ram. Even though everything else is good on it, the frame is good, everything is good, but it seems like you need an engine for the truck. So I think we had two diagnostic tests by a mechanic that we had needed an engine. So we start calling around for engine. I think what the first thing I think we call ANC Auto in Cleveland, Ohio, and we call some big mechanic shops, and they gave us price. One mechanic says it was going to be like around $6,000 to put a low mileage engine in. Then I called a dealership. The dealership said it was probably going to be around $9,000 to put the engine in. And I also called another place that, like I said, ANC Auto. We called another place. We said, look, we're going to try to find the engine and just let somebody else put it in. So we did find the engine at ANC Auto. And the engine, I think, was no, we didn't do it. Actually, we did we took it to a shop on West 130th, and they told us the lowest price was 3,600 to get the engine and also to install it in the truck. So we did that. It was okay. The guy said, okay, it's going to take a week, to have the engine installed. We made an appointment, went to bring the engine in. So we did that. We took it in. And even though he said it was going to be like a week, it ended up taking like about 2 weeks because some of the stuff, you're saying that, oh, the transmission was a little bit difficult to go back in or something like that, but they had to make sure everything was okay. So upon finishing the work on the truck, which is 2 weeks later, we went back and also we did some additional work as far as water pump, sensors, and a few other stuff we did. So we end up spending like over close to $5,000 at the mechanic shop. So now let's fast forward now a year now, which is this year. um, we came around. Before I fast forward to this year, upon picking up the truck, we realized that the check engine light was still on. So we said to mechanic, why is the check engine light still on? They're saying that they tried everything, they changed new sensors, they did everything, but the check engine light still on the dashboard. So they're saying that it probably would be, it probably would be okay, or probably would be appropriate if we would go to like an emission mechanic to see if they could figure out why is the check engine light still on the dash after putting in a low mileage engine. So after that, okay, so we decided that we wasn't gonna do that. The truck was running okay. The truck is still running okay a year later. So now in the state of Ohio, whenever when it's time for you to like do your registration, or every year you have to change registration. Every year you gotta license your vehicle, unless you buy like 4 years license plate or stuff like that. So we do like yearly. So this year now it's time for us to do it again. So went to e-check, and of course, even though we have a low mileage in there, it has failed e-check because of the check engine light on the dashboard. Whenever time you take your vehicle in the state of Ohio and you have check engine light on your dashboard, it's going to automatically fail the e-check, because I don't know, that's the system that they have. Even if your vehicle runs good, everything is good, but as long as you have check engine light on your dashboard, it's going to fail. So I decided that we was gonna call the mechanic that had put the engine in to see if they can give us a copy of the engine that they put in, because I couldn't find my receipt. My husband and I, we looked everywhere, we just can't find the receipt. So when I called there, they told me that the boss was not in. He'll be back on Wednesday. I called back on Wednesday. He came up. At first, they had an attitude when I first called, blaming me, oh, saying that it's my responsibility to keep my own receipts, blah, 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 and stuff like that. So they said, anyways, you have to call the boss back when he comes back in a couple of days. So we turn around, call the boss. I called and explained to him. He's stating that, oh, when I, told the secretary that, take my number or whatever, and he'll call back when he has some time, because he was out of town. He just got back in and he's backed up with work. So I said, look, I explained to the secretary and says, look, they wasn't having a problem when we took our truck up there and we spent all this money up there to put an engine in that still has a check engine light on it. So right away he came on the phone when he heard that the secretary and I was talking like this. So he came on the phone and he came, saying, oh, do you have a date when we had put the engine in, because we changed computer system out, and if I don't have noise, guys, I'm outside doing this video. He's saying, okay, if I don't have a date, so he can check back because the computer system has changed, and he has all of the paper down in the basement. But I told him, I said, look, the secretary had printed me off some receipt couple days ago when you weren't here, and that was the date when we did the engine. This guy did not even want to go into the computer. He didn't even want to be bothered. He came with an attitude. I am not going to go in my basement and check out all of them thousands of receipts that I have. So if you, unless you have a date for me, I'm not going to be able to do it. But the attitude that this man had, the attitudes was so ridiculous. I said, look, the way in which I'm being treated right now, I don't think I'm gonna be able to bring my vehicle back up here again because the way you guys are having. The guy told me, okay then, all right. I said, look, I'm gonna make sure that I make sure I put this in the Google or report, how you guys are, running your business. Because number one, if you've gone to a bigger one of those big mechanic place or even the dealership, and you go back a year for receipt, they're gonna look you up and say, they're gonna remember and says, look, this person just did an engine here. I'll give you a copy of the receipt. There's so much noise out here, and I'm doing my video on my porch. So they would say, you know what, if you have gone to like the dealership or any place, those big companies, right away they're going to ask you, do you have ID? You show them your ID, and they're going to look you up in the computer and say, oh, yeah, you did it such and such a time last year. And I ask, can I get a copy of the receipt? Right away they would have presented you with a copy of the receipt. This guy was busy telling me that it wasn't his responsibility to keep receipts for me. I said, look, nobody is perfect, and we're in the process of moving, and all I want is a copy of the receipt, because if you guys had fixed the truck to begin with, and not having check engine light on the dashboard, putting in a low mileage engine in, then he said, then why didn't you come back last year with a low mile? This is a year later. I said, yes, your mechanic says that he couldn't do it. Your mechanic said he did everything and couldn't take the check engine light off the dashboard. And I'm saying, how can we spend all this money putting in a low mileage engine, change sensors and everything, but yet still we still have check engine light on the dashboard? So I proceeded to tell this guy that I'm going to give him a bad review for, everything, that I should have to be coming back a year later to get copy of receipts, because I know if I did business with someone and they asked me for a copy of my receipt, I should be able right away to look up to say, you know what, it's a year ago, it's not like it's 10 years ago, it's 1 year ago. Let me turn around and give this person, even if I can't mail it or do anything to you, I can even something to try to accommodate this person, because it's good business practice. Because if you don't take care of your customers, you're going to lose customers. But what I notice about some of these people, and that's why you find a small businesses always goes out of business, because when they start to get customers, they start to get the big head, and right away they want to treat their customers some kind of way. They don't want to be bothered. They act like they can't return phone calls back. They act like they can't look for receipts. I mean, come on now. If you want more business, you have to try to take care of you have to try to take care of your customers. You can treat customers some kind of way and expect to get good business. No, you can't do that. And that's the main reason why a lot of small businesses are going out of business. Anyways, guys, sorry about the noise again. I'm on my porch. The moral of the story is, what I took from this, and what I'm taking from this is, sometimes it's not always the cheapest, is not always the best. Sometimes my opinion is these mechanics, they might have established shops and everything else like that, but some of them do very bad business, and they're very dishonest. And come to find out, this guy here, when I first called a few days ago, this secretary was so confused. She was even telling me that she doesn't know anything what was going on. She just been there only 4 months. So you can tell that this company or this guy here cannot keep workers, because this is done from last year, and you got this new secretary here. She's so confused. She started getting smart. They don't train people. They're so desperate for work, and they do bad business. And whenever time you do bad business always is going to follow you. And eventually, even though you might be around for a long time, eventually people are going to get tired and go somewhere else. But the moral of the story is, what I take from this is, um, it's always best that when you have a car or a truck or anywhere, it's always best for you to go to the dealership. Okay, anyways, guys, so yes, like I said, those are what I got. I kind of like learn my lesson not to mess around, even though the big companies are more expensive. But to me, when you're dealing with big items, big ticket items like cars, trucks, houses, and all those things, is best for you to deal with the big companies, because the big companies them will also give you guarantees, and the big companies are gonna make sure they keep the receipts. And so if you lose your receipt and you go to a big company, like say for instance now I'm doing business with Home Depot or anything, I can always go to Home Depot and says, you know what, last year I bought 10 bags of cement or 20 bags of cement. Is there any way I can get a receipt? They're going to tell me right away, just show me your ID, and then we can, I can give you a copy of your receipts normally. But when you're dealing with these small backyard mechanics, even though this place was not a backyard mechanics, it's on the main street, it's a mechanic shop that had been there for a while. They hire mechanics, but some of these places are very crooked in the way they do business. They're very, very crooked. They cannot be trusted. And guys, when you're doing business like this, don't forget to read up reviews. I read the reviews, a couple reviews. They didn't have 5 stars. Okay, they had mixed reviews. So I thought, okay, then since I didn't see any real bad, nasty reviews, I could just go ahead and, and at the time, we were a little bit desperate to have the engine installed inside of the truck, and they were the cheapest place. So we went for the cheapest. And now I kind of like regretted it because, while you're there, they'll take your money, they'll smile and laugh with you. But a year later on, when it's time for them to come up with receipts, they're giving you all kinds of garbage. They're giving you all kinds of attitude, like they don't even care that you had come there and spend money a year later on. And they know you can't go back and ask for a refund because it's a year later. You can't go back and says, "Well, there's a problem here," because it's 1 year later on. So it's my fault, for not, for not really taking the time to, go to bigger, more established companies. Probably would not be in this situation here where actually we cannot pass e-check, and now we have to spend additional money to take off these 3 emission stuff that is showing up on the e-check while we didn't pass the e-check, because 4 got passed and 3 did not pass. So, and they cannot pass you if you got some passing and some failing. Everything has to pass if you want to get a passing e-check in the state of Ohio. Anyways, guys, if you've gone through anything like this, please put it down in the comment section. If you have any advice or if you have experience about this, put it down in the comment section. Leave your thought down in the comment section. Let us know how you feel about this video, guys. Anyways, like, subscribe, comment, and share. And bye-bye.